Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sunny Side podcast. Today, I am joined by Mr. Damien McClave. He is the founder and CEO of a company called DocPlace. I'm going to let Damien introduce himself. Damien, how are we doing, good sir?
Hey, good morning, Finn. How are you? This is Damien McClave, founder of DocPlace AI. We're basically a document management platform using AI as data ingestion, 52x faster than traditional DMS environments like Dropbox, SharePoint, and those type of environments, but also then utilizing AI from a standpoint of workflows, automating workflows, customizing user interface. So instead of AI being a negative, it becomes a positive. Using AI agentic searches in your data, and we have our own built-in DocPlace GPT, so you can ask real-life questions of your data and actually be able to analyze the data based on what you have in there. All the agentic searches based on what type of workflows you would normally do, contract expiration dates, number of contracts, what I work on, all of that kind of stuff. And then obviously the big part, we have our own e-signature built in. We have our own forms built in, all using AI, so you can eliminate a number of different platforms like DocuSign or PandaDoc or JotForms if you're using multiple platforms to do different types of current operations. So yeah, that's basically us in a nutshell.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing that, Damien. So, can we kind of rewind a little bit? What is your background? Why did you even start your company in the first place?
Yeah, so I've been in the enterprise DMS space for a while, mostly on financial services. Had a previous company that we sold that were focused primarily on big banks, on regulatory requirements the banks have, also anything to do with data in terms of risk management with data, workflows inside of the financial services industry. And then just right after the pandemic, when AI was just starting to come out, I figured this was a great way to go with a SaaS environment as opposed to a financial services hosted environment, and build this out and then be able to go bring it out globally on in the SaaS world. And I saw AI as a perfect mechanism to be able to extract the analytics on the data and to be able to operate the way I see data as the ownership of the organization, as opposed to end users labeling the data any way they want to and everything being lost all the time. So it was a great way to be able to do that. So it was basically, saw from my background, moved it over to what was possible in AI, and we built out a completely new SaaS environment. We started development in 2022.
Well, that is great. So this is your first SaaS company, but you've been in some like financial services kind of industry. What do you think have been some of the main differences that, like, not the obviously obvious ones, but like in terms of owning the two types of different companies, what have been some of the main two differences that you noticed, maybe didn't expect?
Yeah, I think the main thing, like when you go into a SaaS environment, you basically can onboard from anywhere. So you're not limited to, financial services hosting and controlling their own data and their own environment. This allows you to do it. We work with Azure, primarily Azure Commercial, Azure Government, so we can actually implement the product anywhere globally. So that was one of the main things for me. I always wanted to go to a SaaS environment anyway, because it just allows you to expand into multiple environments, multiple verticals. You're not stuck in just the financial services environment, so it allows you to do everything. So we've been pretty successful right now in education and healthcare, medical nonprofit, and real estate, and in that environment. So we've been really successful in those now in this new SaaS environment, but it's just growing out across the board. Anybody can basically utilize our platform now, but we focus a lot on those verticals. We couldn't do that in my previous life.
How do you stand out if I like obviously there's a lot of new tools that are coming out now. How do you not become just another AI tool? Like what's the thought process behind that?
Well, the main thing is, I think, like we have, so our data is on a vector database. We use Cosmo DB in the vector database side. So it's all machine learning. So the more data we get, the more intelligent our platform becomes. And I think the main thing then is to be able to encompass AI into an environment where you control the data. So I reversed engineer data. So I look at data as the property and the ownership of the organization itself. So as opposed to all the current environments, like you have SharePoint, Dropbox, all these environments, the end users are labeling the documents, finding out where they shared, doing the naming conventions, all that kind of stuff. So the organizations and the C-level people, they really don't have access to that data.
Yeah.
They're just basically on for the ride. When you move into this environment, you've got complete control over your data. The end users still have a beautiful experience. They just don't need to sit there and manually index documents because the AI does it for you. But then you have all the searches inside of the data. So instead of having data silos, like product data silos, like DocuSign and PandaDoc and all of these other types of environments, job forms, all of these environments, we have it all that functionality in our environment, but we add AI on top of that. So it's really to be able to give the end users an unbelievable experience. But the main thing is to be able to have the C-level people totally control their data. So from a security standpoint of view, you control the data. From a naming convention, you control the data using AI. From employee turnover, you totally control the data. You don't have to worry about that anymore. But then obviously then you have all the AI agentic searches inside of your data. So you can totally control what's going on. How many contracts are coming up this month? I need to get a report on that. And one really cool thing that we just did recently, we're rolling out our new dashboard, but actually it's all built on AI widgets. So basically what it is, it allows the end user, without controlling the data, because that's controlled by the organization itself, but it allows them to control their own dashboard. So now they can have their own AI experience inside of the dashboard itself, and utilize whatever functionality they need with inside the data, whatever kind of reports they need from the data to actually do their day-to-day job, but they can actually design their own dashboards now using AI inside our environment. So I really want to change that negative AI, connotation that everybody's going to lose their jobs or AI is here to replace you, and really make AI useful for the end user without giving them control over my data or over my the intellectual property that we have inside of the data. So it's
Okay. Makes sense. Well, it's very, very valuable. Like, was there a particular problem that you see in the market that was like, oh my God, like we need to start this, or was it just to kind of put in a couple of things together and you thought, well, it's an obvious solution?
Yeah, I think the main thing is how I look at stuff is like silos. Like products are silos.
Yeah.
I mean, if you sign documents in DocuSign, they're over there. If you're in SharePoint, they're over there. They're in your shared drive, they're over there. If they're in Dropbox, they're somewhere else. So that's silos. That's where data goes to die, basically, in my opinion. So, and then you have inside organizations, departments are silos. So I view that as data silos, departments. So if you're a CEO and you want to have a report of how many people did we hire last month, or what are the annual raises going to be this year, you got to reach out to your HR department. They got to go do a bunch of analytics on the data, and they got to send you a report by email, and you got to wait 2 or 3 days to get it. Why? Why is that? Because the data is all in that departmental silos. So what we're doing with DocPlace is eliminating departmental silos and product silos and putting the control of all that data in the C-level's hands.
Yeah, which is very, very valuable. Is there something that they're like the types of like customers and businesses, is there something that they're already using that's similar to this? Or is it like, do you have to educate them on what can be done?
I think what you have to do for me, the user experience is key. So I basically take my product lead from the user experience. So I'm really big on putting the product in, having the user's experience what it is. When people get into it and they can see that they can have a multifaceted environment inside of one environment for them, and it's using AI to do it, for them it's easier to use. So we take our lead from the user experience, and then we get feedback from them, and then we go back and we develop based on that. So that's why it's onboarding now quite rapidly in terms of being able to onboard new clients now all the time, because the feedback that we got from the initial clients over the first year and a half has been invaluable in terms of what we did with the product to move it forward. So that's kind of how we view it anyway. I look at what the users are telling me, and I act based on that.
Okay, that's interesting. So, do you think actually iterating on your product and constantly changing new things is key in a SaaS business?
Um, I think you have to have a core product. You have to have a core thing that you're good at. So her biggest core capability is being able to capture data extremely fast extremely easy, and organize it and structure it and index it based on how an organization would do it without having to do any work. So
Okay.
we can drop and drag a terabyte of data. We can upload it in a number of hours and completely index that data and have it structured completely and make it intelligent within a number of hours. That can't be done right now. Nobody can do that. I don't care what companies you're talking to, and that's pretty incredible. So that's a key component of what we do is really capture and make data intelligent. But then when you add in the product sets of, using AI to create your documents and get them digitally signed, that's already there. Forms digitally signed, that's already there. Workflows, that's already in the platform. So you're able to do create multi environments inside the platform that people can utilize every day. And it doesn't matter what type of environment it is because they can all utilize it.
Yeah, makes sense. So what do you think has been some of the biggest kind of challenges and obstacles that you wasn't expecting? Like obviously you've done a business that's quite different, you could say that, to this business, so it's quite a new thing. What have been some of the challenges and the bottlenecks, and how did you kind of get over them?
I think the hardest part is people just don't know who you are. You know what I mean? So when you're explaining to them what you do, the best thing to do is try for us is let them try the product, trial and error, see what they think of the product. But we really focused when I started the rollout on the sales side was really focused on specific verticals and see where it can be really effective. But once you get the product in, it's really amazing because you put it into one department, it just snowballs right through the organization because people can start utilizing it different aspects because every department kind of crosses over into each other's kind of purview at some point in the document chain, and this just allows them to do it seamlessly. So that was the biggest challenge was nobody knew who we were. You know what I mean? And now as we get more and more familiar with what we do and who we are, and we have examples now and case studies in multiple environments and multiple verticals, it just makes it easier for us to do it.
100%. Okay, so what do you think have been some of the best hires that you've made in this business? Like, obviously, I can see that you've got like a marketing officer and stuff like that. Like, what do you think have been some of the key hires that are like, wow, like I needed this person?
Some of the people that we have, yeah, I think we have our development guys from way back, even when we were on the enterprise space, we migrated a bunch of those guys over. So that team is really solid. I think that what's really important is to find people that can really, think out of the box, because you're creating something that doesn't really exist at the moment. So it's not like there's nobody to follow, whatever you're creating is kind of something new.
Which is
So we
hard.
have people that think out of the box and are comfortable in that environment, whether it's on the development side or project management side, or obviously on the sales side. Those are things. We have some really, most of the staff that we have are relatively young, which is a great thing because the energy's good. They don't have all these preconceived notions about what data is supposed to be or how it's supposed to operate. So for them, it's new. And then when they implement it with clients, I think what's really cool is when they go to see a client that's actually implemented the product and they're looking at it going and go, wow, you're really solving a problem there. And then they say, wow, this is a pretty cool product because we're solving problems everywhere. And I think that really attracts young people because they don't want to just be anybody can pay you money and do a mundane job. But I think they want to create some value inside of what they're doing. And I think that's a really positive thing about what we offer.
And what do you look for when you hire young people? Because obviously they've got no experience. Is there certain characteristics or traits?
Yeah, I really don't care if they have experience. To be honest with you, I want to see young people that they want to aspire to do something. They want to aspire to do something great. You know what I mean? And they want to have some kind of value in what they're bringing to the table. Because anybody can work 9 to 5. The question is, do you really love what you do? So it's great when you come in and you have a meeting and you can tell, like, they're coming up with ideas that you didn't even think about. That's a cool feeling. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So I really enjoy that. Enjoy the energy, enjoy that kind of stuff. And also when people have wins, when young people have wins and it's not something that they're accustomed to in their life yet, don't have enough experience to have a bunch of wins. But when they get wins, whether it's a sales environment or a customer satisfaction environment, or they're rolling out something, or they're just talking about, yeah, I'm working in an AI, environment. It's cutting edge. It's new. It's really cool. It's a really nice thing to do. And then they're bringing it into their different. We do a ton of different shows, and We just did an IBO show, an Irish business show here. I've been here for years. I've never done it, but some of the young people that come in, they're Irish. Said, "Oh, let's do this show." I said, "Sure, why not?" And then they had a great time. They implemented it, showing it. We got CIE tours now, the Irish
Really?
Tours Board. We're doing a demo for those guys out of that show. Like really cool stuff that probably, I'm maybe too old style to get involved in it, but social media, young people just love it. So
Yeah.
that's a cool part of what we do.
Absolutely. How important do you think culture is inside of a business, like in terms of the team? Like obviously, it looks like that you're actually in an office, so you're not fully remote. Like, how important is it to have good energy, people actually like pushing to the top? So I assume that you must have had a few times where like you've brought some people on, and it's kind of had the opposite effect where you're like wake up, mate, like what you up to? So
Yeah, I think it's really important. Like, I think it's incredibly important. Like, we do in office mostly here in New York,
yeah,
because we're so young, Finn. We're trying to develop our culture and trying to get good at what we do. But I think it's really important. It's like a team. I see business like a sports team. If you don't have everybody on the same page in some respect, it's very hard to build it. You know what I mean? And everybody plays different positions and do different things, but we're all part of the one group. You know what I mean? I think when you get that culture built, I think you're pretty unstoppable,
yeah,
personally. But
I love that energy.
yeah, the remote stuff is kind of difficult when you're first starting. When you're a startup environment, which even though we're getting bigger, we're still a startup environment because this is such a new concept of what everybody else is doing out there. But it's just great when you have that kind of energy and you can build that kind of team, and honestly, it's one by one. You find another great person, and just how it is. We had a meeting this morning with a girl. She's doing some development work for us and stuff. She happens to be in Ukraine, and they were having bomb alerts. I said, you don't have to do the meeting. She goes, no, 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 it'll take my mind off it. So
Yeah,
that kind of stuff, like when you can capture those kind of young people that have that kind of determination, no matter what's going on in their environment, but they're really engaged in what you're doing. To me, it's incredible. I just love that. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, you want to make sure she's safe. So I asked her like 100 times, "Are you sure you want to?" She goes, "No, it's going to take my mind off things. Otherwise, I got to go to the shelter." I said, "Okay, if you really want to do it, let's do it." But that's priceless to me. You know what I mean? That kind of energy is just priceless. That's what changes your organization.
100%. Would you say team is the most important thing in an organization?
Say it again. Sorry.
Would you say that the team is the most important thing in an
I
organization?
think it's everything.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't. I think that's begins and ends there. I think without the people, you don't really have anything. You can have the greatest product in the world. You can have the greatest, environment in the world. But if you don't have a team that can put it together, it's very, very, very difficult to do it. I've never been able to do it. So the
yeah.
team is everything.
That's interesting. So coming back onto actually you selling this thing, right? How are you? So I assume that you've been having to educate your market and showing them like, well, we can do X, Y, Z now. Like we've not been able to do this before. How have you been doing that, and what have been kind of some of the? How's it been? Because there's people quite receptive to it, or are they a bit like, oh, not another tool, or like what's kind of
Yeah,
been?
I think it depends. If it's a cold call, we do a lot of demonstrations of the platform in different verticals. I really like going to meet people, so I like going into we did a school recently, a university. So I went in to meet all the department heads and the C-level people inside the university, and we did a pitch to them, in their facility. It was really cool. We showed them what we could do. Most of it, they didn't believe us. They were like, I think that's impossible. And we kind of described where they were currently and how, it doesn't function properly. But when you pull in AI, you can do it. And that was, probably 8, 9 months ago. We've onboarded them. Since onboarding them, it's a game changer. The administration department, financial aid department, the finance department, the onboarding department, the marketing department, they can now all see the same data. And for them before, that was, a trip around or an email around the school or walking stuff around the school in some kind of paper electronic format. That's all transpired. It's all changed for them now. So they're like, we didn't think it was possible. Honestly, they thought that we were too good to be true, that it was not a real environment until we actually onboarded them, and then they saw that, wow, this is what you can do. And we replaced some big product company names there, like PandaDoc. We took them out. We took out DocuSign. We took out SharePoint, and those are products that they're kind of mainstay products in the US. You know what I mean? And they're not needed anymore if you get into the right AI environment.
Yeah, well, it's really really interesting, isn't it? Because obviously them guys are quite big companies, aren't they? Like
compared to
they're like
us.
they're like massive companies, aren't they? So how
Yeah.
do you think? Is it one of them things that they could just come and add something similar into their kind of tech stack and their offering, or is it kind of like you're one of one?
Well, they're not. How are they going to be able to build, a database based on where we are right now? They'd have to reinvent everything they do. They'd have to reinvent structurally how they do it. They'd have to retrain all of their current users on a new environment. So for me, it's impossible for them. Can they
Really?
add on some AI agents here and there to do one or two functions inside of the environment? Maybe, but it doesn't give you a vector database. It doesn't give you any kind of intelligence on the back end. So, I mean, if they were able to do it, SharePoint would have done it a long time ago. I mean, they rolled out Copilot to try and eliminate SharePoint. That didn't work very well. So, it's a big ask for some of these big companies, to be honest with you. So, I think our Windows, I don't know how long it's going to last, but I think it's going to be there for a while. I think the opportunity is just huge.
Yeah, massive. So, in order to actually get DocPlace into the next level, like what do you think are some of the things that have to be added or taken away or tweaked, or is it just a
I
matter of
think,
let's let time
yeah.
do this thing? Or
I think, I mean, I bootstrapped the company because I've had a number
oh,
of
okay.
different exits, so I totally get where that is. But I think we'll have to do like a Series A type raise pretty soon to be able to really bring it out globally. I didn't do it primarily because I didn't want to give away any of the equity. I wanted to fund it myself till I get it to a certain level. Once we're at that level, probably do a pretty large Series A and then probably follow up with a quite quick Series B type environment. Um, and that's what we're going to have to do. I mean, that's going to happen probably early 2027, so not far away. You know what I mean? So that was the roadmap from the beginning, and yeah, that's where we are now. And then we really go at it.
Would that be more like would you just make the product better, or would you just like, get some more eyeballs on you, or like
I
what
think
would
it's more eyeballs. I think it's the product is pretty mature. I really stake my reputation on the product, so I'm probably too conservative on the product, Finn. I
yeah,
probably should roll it out earlier and
not
let
a
people
bad thing
try it
though.
out. Yeah, but I think I'm really concerned that when I roll out a product, it's got to function for the client. So that part is really really important for me. But now with the product is getting more and more mature, and we're doing a whole bunch of different things with it now, with our workflow, automated workflows using AI, and a bunch of other stuff that just don't exist right now. The great thing about being in this environment, one thing is about creating data and capturing data the way we do it. So we basically reverse engineer data capture. The great thing about being able to do that now is once that's accomplished and you're really good at it, your platform is all built on native AI. We're an AI native environment, so it's getting more intelligent as we go along. Then being able to build out all the other components that you want to create inside a product that's going to make it really user friendly and people do it. It's easier now to do it from a product standpoint of view. So now we can build the company, as quickly as we want. We can scale any way we want tomorrow. So that's kind of why we'll go for the raise, look to raise, quite a bit of money on the Series A side, and then build it out based on that. But it'll be more sales, marketing, and getting the product out there. It wouldn't be more of a development thing because the product's pretty well developed as it is. Obviously, it's continuously going to change as we go along, as you know.
Yeah, okay. Well, that definitely makes sense. Can I ask, like, what do you think you would have done differently if you did get that, if it wasn't bootstrapped from the get-go? Would it have just been the similar process, or what would have actually have been different?
I'm not sure it would have changed that much, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. I mean, um, I had my team already, I had my development team, brought in some new people on that side. Would have had a bigger development team, maybe done it faster? I'm not so sure, to be honest with you, because it's such a complex product in terms of all the stuff that we offer. Um, but at the same time, I kind of like where we are. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, so I like where we are right now. I think now as we go to onboard, more and more users, I think you have to scale. You know what I mean? So I think now is the time to do it. And honestly, it was, I've been through it before, so I didn't want to give away a bunch of equity at a very early stage for no reason. I just didn't see any benefit to that. So um, I'm not sure I would change that much. Maybe we could have scaled a little bit quicker. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Are you looking to make this, like, are you a global company? You are, aren't you? Or are you just in the
Yeah, yeah, no, that's the goal for sure. The goal to be a global company.
so the goal is literally just to be the go-to guy?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Exciting. Very, very exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing you grow, Damien. I am. Well,
Yeah,
listen,
I'm either a genius or I'm crazy, one or the other.
well, but both of them could work in your favour. So, well, listen, David, well, if the audience is wondering where can they actually get in touch with you, where can they find you, learn a bit more about your platform, where can they find you, sir?
Yeah, you go on to obviously we're all over LinkedIn, but you can go on to our website is docplace.ai, so you can log on there docplace.ai, and we're right here. Our office is in Midtown in Manhattan, right off of Fifth Avenue and 45th and Fifth. So if you're ever in New York, pop in. We're happy to meet with you guys. So,
Nice.
but you can on our website. Obviously, we're listed everywhere.
Listen, Damien, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a
Yeah,
pleasure. Yeah, thank you very much.
absolute pleasure, Finn. Thank you.
Ready?